Wouldn't it be nice if our teens listened to us, they took our advice, and there was less chaos in our lives because of it? Yeah, I dreamed that the other night too. It doesn't actually happen that way, but I have some practical tips I'll share with you in this episode of how you can support your neurodivergent teen even when they don't want the help. And I'll share a mindset shift that has helped me to view this time in a much better light. Hey, I'm Crystal Wagner. I'm a life and parenting coach, and I help you launch your neurodivergent teens into adulthood with confidence and grace. There have been many times my daughters have come to me and said, hey, guess what's not working? Guess what I'm doing now? And internally I'm thinking, why did that not stick the hundreds of times that I told you that? One of them even comes to me now often and says, I'm pretty sure you've told me this before, but guess what I'm doing now that's working? Or guess what I heard from somebody else? I've had to learn to let go of getting the credit for this. It is sometimes I'm just planting the seeds. I am saying something over and over in several different ways, and it's just not sticking with my daughters. But if I had not introduced them to these concepts, then somebody else coming along would have been the first to introduce them, and they still may not have stuck. So I have learned to just view this as planting seeds and trusting that God will water those, He'll bring them to fruition, and somebody will say something at some point that it'll click and their brains will be ready to process it, and they can do something with that information. Why is this a challenge? Well, sometimes they're not ready to hear the information. They don't have the brain maturity to understand it. Maybe they're not ready to assume the responsibility for what is required for them to do what we're suggesting. Maybe they're just not ready to implement it. They don't see the need for it. There's not enough pain or frustration for them to do something about it. And sometimes they just want to hear it from somebody else and not us. So what can we do? The first thing is to remember that you're planting seeds and then work on building a village around your children. In the past, we had built-in support systems. We had extended family, either living with us or living close to us. We were in tighter-knit communities that we had other mature adults that we trusted who were pouring into them. And unfortunately, we've lost that the way our society currently is. So we've been very intentional to find other people to pour into our children. They have worked with counselors, with coaches, employers. They've had teachers and professors that have been instrumental for them. And we've sought out mentors. When they were in high school, we helped them seek out those mentors, and that created a culture and an expectation that it's good to have somebody older or wiser or more experienced to pour into us. And now both of our daughters have sought out mentors in their respective fields to run things by, to ask questions of. So build that support structure so that even if what you're saying is just planting those seeds and it's not sprouting yet, they will have other people that are giving them sound advice that hopefully eventually it will click and they'll be able to do something with that. I think my takeaway from all of this is that we need to rejoice anytime that they're successful. It does not matter if I planted the seed and I helped bring it to fruition, or if somebody else planted the seed, if I just gave them a little introduction to a topic and then somebody else expanded on it and they finally said, oh, that makes perfect sense. I can do that. It doesn't matter who's helping them and in what way, but they are being successful. And I want to rejoice with my daughters when they do things well, when things start to click, when they're having fewer struggles. I don't care who is bringing that about, as long as they're making that progress. And honestly, it's very cool that now occasionally they'll come back to me and say, you know, that thing you told me a few years ago, I think I'm ready to do that now. Someone mentioned it again recently, and I remembered when we had those conversations. I'll be honest, that doesn't happen very often, but it has happened. They do recognize that we're pouring into them, we're trying to support them, and sometimes they're just not quite ready for it, but that's okay. What do you need to do right now to be able to continue supporting your teen even when you're not seeing the fruits of your labors? That's it for today. I hope you'll subscribe, leave a rating and review to help other moms find this podcast. And thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.